How's it going, Scav Nation? I hope you all are having a kick-ass day and chasing your dreams as per usual. Guys, today I hope to have a really useful video for a couple of you. Anyone who's struggling with loot in this game right now, anyone who might be wanting to learn woods. I think this would be a great opportunity for you. Today I'm going to be showcasing a loot run that I've been perfecting over the last month or two. I've been playing a lot of woods. And it focuses on the updated loot hotspots of woods after rework that happened at the beginning of this wipe. Some really great profit to be made. PvP when you want it, but avoidance of PvP if that's what you're looking for as well, which is great for just focusing on pure money. Just as some statistics, as a dry run of this, I ran 4 hours of just woods. This loot run only for 4 hours on stream the day before filming this. And in that time, we managed to squeeze in 7 raids. Only one of those raids we died on. And that included 5 to 8 player kills. However, I did not total up their loot with this grand total of how much money we made that I'm going to tell you about. I figure we'll keep this just to in-game loot because obviously it varies, but so does PMC loot. So this number I'm about to tell you is just off of found in raid loot from scavs, boxes, stashes, whatever. And that total for 4 hours of just running this loot run was 5.8 million rubles. That is using flea market to sell what's best to sell in flea market, traders to sell what's best to sell to traders. 5.8 million. That's nearly, a mil a run almost. 0.8 mil per run and 1.5 per hour. So I think that's pretty solid numbers, and I will say that this is a safe loot run. Woods, since the expansion, didn't get very many. I think it only got a 2-player count increase, and the map doubled in size. So it's very easy to play this map looking for PvP if that's what you're looking for, and avoiding it if that's not the case, which is perfect for, again, if you're going for loot, you're struggling with it, and that's something that you want to work on. Before we hop into woods itself, I am going to take you to look at the map here real quick. I've got a map pulled up here on MapGenie. Now there's a link for this down in the description below, and I'm going to go over the route that I like to take. So this route focuses primarily on the outskirts of woods. I really don't touch the middle in any sense. Warehouses, lumber mill, the mountain stashes, really even in these rocks that overlook it, sniper rock, lookout rock. I don't really touch any of those because there is some loot in there, but I find that these are some of the hot spots. Anyone who's looking for PvP usually focuses on these locations, as well as marked circle and the spawns. So the main route primarily consists of military camp. This is the big heavy hitter. I make great money in this location specifically. Ideally, you're going to spawn where I'm going to show you. We're going to do a raid all the way through. I'm going to point out items to you where I like to look for stuff, relative values, just off the top of my head, quick maths of some of the values of some of the items I pass and whether I take them or not. Ideally spawning here, but taking you through real time through the entire run. But I go, ideally military camp is what you want to hit first if you get a close enough spawn. If not, you want to hit it last. Don't skip out on military camp, because I've hit it out of the 7 raids that we did in that 4-hour period. I hit it twice when I spawned on the opposite side, came all the way around 25 minutes into the raid, looked in that area and found loot. So it's still worth looking, even if you don't get there until the very end of the raid. But military camp, from there I like to proceed nice and wide through here, avoiding the mountain stash again. I want to go over here to the old sawmill. Now if you get through here quickly, you do have to watch out for some spawns along here, but again, this is going to be primarily focused on avoiding spawns. Living. So there's great loot in the old sawmill. From there, I proceed to the Scav Town, though I don't usually go in here. This is a spot where a lot of people like to look for their shooter board and heaven kills, so I'll maybe loot a little bit on the outskirts if I think it's safe, but usually I don't touch this very much. There's some miscellaneous loot. I usually avoid it. I kind of just cut through these woods, hit a couple stashes. Same with the abandoned village. There's a little bit of loot in here, miscellaneous. I usually just hit this house, and this cache, and then I move over towards, you know, this area with the loose provisions, scav bunker, USEC camp, and then from there I move all the way down to the outskirts exfil, which is what you'll have if you spawn here. Now, if I spawn over towards outskirts, I do the exact opposite. I go up here this way, follow that same path, and I'll usually hit, you know, military camp and then go UN roadblock. Now, if I spawn anywhere in the middle of that C shape, anywhere in the middle of that shape, if I spawn over here at the scav bunker, if I spawn here near the village, what I do is I take a look at my exfil and I basically start the route there heading towards exfil. So if I started, you know, if I spawn here and I have outskirts, I'm going to just not go this way. I'm going to follow the outskirts around over here, edge of the map around to outskirts. Or vice versa. If I spawn here and my exfil is UN roadblock, I'll just carry the path this way and go out. Because this, if you do the entire route, it does take quite a while. It could be 20, 25 minutes if you're thoroughly looting stuff. Sometimes even more if you run into opposition. Which is, you know, a philosophy I like to have is getting out with half a backpack full is better than dying with a full backpack full. You know, so if you spawn in here in the middle, just take the trip to the exfil, get some loot on the way out, reset, go for it again, okay? And with that in mind, we're gonna hop right into the actual in-raid run-through. Now, I have taken the liberty of spawning myself, or spawning and then running to this spawn. This is the UNTAR roadblock. And I will unmute in-game audio. There's a couple weapon cases there. We're going to pass those up. So if I spawned just into the raid, I'm going to make a direct beeline towards this military camp just off of that spawn, because that's the closest spawn. A couple different spawns around here. Someone can spawn at that exfil way over there. People can also spawn in those hills, and there's one closer to Sniper Rock, but this is generally the closest one. And I'm going to go over all the loot. This is an offline, 0 scavs in here, so I can just show you the loot and everything where it spawns. So one thing that I like to focus on, I'll start talking once we leave that field. Right now I'll go heavy over loot. Food spawns here, can find sugar right here. Duffel bag obviously has loot. We're gonna go through all of this. We're gonna find what we find on here. Random meds, hemostats. I usually search the duffel bags, med bags. Any of these caches and supply crates we're going to try to make our way to and hit. Now, this area specifically is probably, out of the entire route, this location, the military camp, is probably the highest PvP count of anything here. You can run into the most PvP in this location because a lot of people know that there's some solid loot here. You might run into some other players looking for it in this location. So I like to get in and out of here. If I get the closest spawn, I'm getting in and out as quick as possible. Just, again, to avoid anyone else rotating this. You also have to be careful of anyone rotating this because they can get here before you're done if they make a beeline for it. We're just going to loot some of this. Sporadic meds spawn right there. Over here, you can sometimes get stuff spawn up here. Ammo boxes can spawn here. You're looking for BS ammo if at all possible. In here, on here we can get miscellaneous meds, Cordura, food, water. Speaking of which, food, water, sugar. Sugar is really what you're looking for here. Alyanka's not bad either. Got a serve kit. You can find golden stars. We'll pass on the serve kit here. Alright, so in here, miscellaneous meds. You can also get a backpack that spawns there. Weapon case. Hit that real quick. You can check up there for other ammo spawns, tech spawns. Alright, we'll hit the duffel bags here. So again, I try to make it in and out of this place as quick as possible. I'm looting very quickly. Looking for various meds along these shelves. Same thing on this side. Just that. Various meds. I could speed this up, but I figured I'd leave this in real time. That way you guys can really see my route through the map, see where I'm looking for loot and where things spawn. You know, for those of you guys who, again, this is good for those of you guys who are struggling to make money, maybe want to learn this map. Golden Star and some other various meds can spawn here. Ration supply crate. Again, sugar is a heavy hitter. These also go for, I think, 14,000. These usually aren't worth picking up, but I'd usually drink them on the spot, you know, just to get that metabolism up. Here we have a couple food spawns. Over here on the chair, you can get sugar and ammo. Alright, from this spot, there's a couple things in here and up in there, but we're going to pass on those. I usually don't go up there because there's a couple line of sights. From here, I'm going to make my way out, and we're just going to kind of duck around the rest, have a little bit of time to talk before we get to the next loot area. This is the old sawmill. So, again, I like to focus on survivability. You know, getting out with a lot of loot and dying in the process is worse than getting out with half a backpack full of loot and surviving. So never be afraid to avoid a fight, especially if, again, you know, you're learning the game, you're struggling, trying to make your way towards being a better player. Never think that you have to take on every single fight that's going on. I think that's something a lot of people think of. So there's a couple different types of loot, and this goes into why I think Woods is a great map for newer players, is that there are some high value loot items that people prioritize, loot runners prioritize, and sometimes I think it works against them. And those would be like LEDXs, GPUs, Tetrises, though they've gone down in price, Bitcoins, you know, those sorts of things. People think, okay, I want to go for loot. I'm going to go looking for those. I'm going to go to the different areas that have those, and I'm just going to pop one of these. They're going to, you know, we're going to go looking for LEDXs, we're going to go looking for GPUs. And while that's great, usually don't find them, but every couple runs, you know, 2 to 5 runs usually. And so you're waiting 2 to 5 runs to make that money, 900,000. But the kind of loot that spawns in Woods, you don't have really those high budget items. You have more medium budget items. Items that go for 100K per slot. You know, maybe 50K per slot. But are still worth finding, and sometimes you find multiple of them in a single raid. So it's definitely worth doing. The exfil, had we spawned on the other side, is over here, following this concrete wall. We're getting into the new expansion now. Down here is the old sawmill. Usually, I don't run into players down here. I usually don't find this looted very heavily. There's not great loot in here, but it is down in a valley. It's usually relatively safe, and I think it's worth checking. So we're going to head. There's 4 spots here I like to check. This little trailer right here. You can find some meds, food spawns. Not meds, food spawns, and I think ammo. Find some food that spawns here. Hit duffel bags. Stuff on the table to my right. Didn't see anything. We're gonna move on to this cabin here. This cabin has a technical supply spawn as well as a weapon container. We're gonna hit that. We got a little tech on the ground. We're gonna pass it up. And basically, I'm just trying to get a full backpack of items that are, you know, people usually pass up on. These aren't high budget items again, but they make you, you know, 15, 20K, and that adds up. A backpack full of it. Again, for doing this for 4 hours, I made almost 6 mil, almost 1.5 per hour. Weapon attachments can spawn up there, including suppressors and such. I usually like to check that table. I run over here, except I missed the jump. this weapon case. Also, shout out to my boy Veritas. Beautiful playlist going on in the background. Link for that is also down in the description. My boy, good friend Veritas, letting us use this music as the background. Nothing but love. Again, looking for some rations. I've struck out on sugar so far, but I usually find 1 to 3 sugar per raid doing this strat. In that time frame of 4 hours, I found 11, I believe, at 80k per each. So, I mean, made nearly a mil just off sugar in 4 hours. So, sugar can spawn here, food and sugar can spawn here. A couple different technical spawns on the ground there. Alright. So, going this direction, again, this is the village over here. I usually avoid this location. I don't really go into the village. If I spawn here very close, I might loot it. But again, a lot of people like to get their shooterborn and heaven kills from that rock here or this rock here. And there's a couple good sight lines. I'll show you one I like to lay right here on this rock. You can see basically all of this. You can see scavs, or if anyone's fighting the scavs down here, it's very obvious when people are fighting here. There's no scavs in that camp there. The scavs will spawn in here. So I'm actually going to avoid this. In here, there's a couple grenade boxes, some duffel bags, plenty of jackets. There is good loot in here. It's just, I find that if people spawn on this side of the map in the new expansion, a lot of people know about this and they go for this loot. I've probably had the most fights out of the 4 hours in this location. Maybe military camp, but then this location's second. So I'm going to pass that up. There's a couple stashes in here, but again, for newer players, you might not remember where these stashes are, so I'm going to pass them up. Again, there's the village. Sniper Rock is in basically the middle of the entire map, so you can use that as a landmark. I'm running through this forest here. Over here, there's the paid exfil, as well as some water and a roadway. I'm going to circumvent that, head this way. I want to get up on this ridge here, because there's a very easy to remember stash up here on this ridge. Again, those power lines and the roadway off to my right. We're going to go up here. And the stash is just up this hill. And here's the roadway. There's the water right here. Paid exfil over there. That village we just passed, that direction. We're just going to head right up here real quick. And there is a nice stash right up here. I don't run into players in this area very often. So, again, why I think this is great for newer players is a lot of players who are looking for PvP don't come this direction. They'll avoid this direction. Just a couple price points. Tushonka, I mean, we're looking at about 10,000, 9,000. These go from anywhere from 10 to 20, fluctuating, because these are good, but I usually don't pick them up. US ammo, garbage, Roubles, I usually don't stack them unless you have a sit case. D-Fuel goes for 25k. Power banks go for sometimes over 100k on the flea market. Ibuprofen was going for 70,000 when I sold the 4 hours worth. Augmentin goes for 20 to 30 depending, because there's a sugar trade for Augmentin. Soap goes anywhere from 10 to 15,000. I usually just pick them up because you get a couple each raid, so it's an easy click to sell all on the flea market. You know, you find plenty of them. These emergency rations were actually going for 17,000 when I sold them on the flea market. I think they're worth picking up. Vodka, 20 to 30, varying. Ratchets have obviously dropped in price, but are still worth picking up. I think they're somewhere around the 80k mark now. Bolts, always worth picking up, especially at the beginning of a wipe. Right now they're going for 25 to 30. Pile of meds, 10 to 15,000 depending. Morphine, 11k to therapist, worth picking up. Anything above 10k per slot, I usually recommend picking up. Those are easy to sell to therapists. These, 12 to 14k to mechanic, I believe. Condensed milk goes for 11 to 12 to therapist. Zalewas, I usually pick them up just to keep them and use them myself. But you can sell these for 22,000. So again, here's the road. You keep following this down, we'll get to the Sunken Village, which is the way that I'm going to go. Now, over here towards Sniper Rock, there's no loot between us and here, besides 2 stashes and a couple crates. Not really anything to write home about. Same thing from here to Dickhead, the Sniper Rock off to the right side of Sniper Rock, the one that overlooks lumber. There's nothing really in this area. So no real reason for PMCs to be traveling through there. And again, it's a great map. now, once you learn woods, I'd recommend learning woods to newer players. It's very easy to avoid PvP, again, by cutting through these areas where you're very unlikely to run into other players. Again, there's loot over here. Along this side, there's even a marked circle. Those are the areas that I find a lot of players go for. This side on the left here is a little bit more laid back, not so sought out. In this house, we're going to have some food spawns. Alyanka right here on the ground. Swift 40k. Duffel bags, I like to hit them. With this... magnets, not really worth. Hose, not really worth picking up. 8k. These are going for 17k, so worth picking up. Gold chains, 24k, worth picking up. They can sometimes be glitched through this blanket, so double check that. Running out here. Cut left, we'll go to this house. I will show you the loot that's out here on this Sunken Church. I don't go out there unless I spawn right here, you know, and get there first. Of course, gold statues can spawn all in here. There's a stash right here in the bushes as well. I'm gonna hit that up. So far, not a great run. Solid run, though. These go for, I believe, what, 30,000 or so. And any food or water, I usually just drink. ES lamps trade for a grenade, so they're roughly about 10k. They trade for an RGD grenade. So we're gonna go this way. I'm just gonna show you that there are a couple loot spawns in here. If you go in here, find gold chains on the floor or on this box, which can be worth it on occasion. Now, again, I usually don't go this direction. I'm gonna loop around the lake. There's a couple here and there, toolboxes, a couple different bits of loot, but nothing crazy in my personal opinion. I want to go over as I run to the next location, I want to go over kind of like the trends of this map. So a lot of the time, Woods isn't known for its great loot. There's solid loot, but it's not, you know, one of the best maps for loot. Reserve, Interchange, Shoreline, Labs all have better loot, in my personal opinion. So it kind of gets left in the dust in that sense. So a lot of people who come here are questing, looking for PvP, and looking for potentially some sniping. Some people want to get some long-range fights will also come here looking for fun. Nighttime, you do run into some thermals on occasion. Often kitted NVG boys as well. So I usually do this during the daytime, though it is starting to get towards darkness. So, and we're nearing this is where the split is. Going this way, there's a couple things. I go this way and just kind of avoid it. I'm going to go up here to the shipping containers. There's a couple shipping containers up here. Again, this is an area, there are some scavs that spawn here. Scavs do spawn in that village as well, but the path that I took you usually avoids them. Scavs can spawn up here, though, and you will be fighting them if you come up here. But usually, it's worth coming up here. A couple food spawns. Again, one sugar is 100k. Grenade box, we're going to hit that. Fuses, 40 millimeters, worth picking up. These are going for 14, 11, 11,000, 14,000, worth picking up. RMR, going to go for about the same, 12,000 or so. There's a green weapon case. We're not going to hit that. Going to come in here. Food can spawn here on the table. Food can also spawn here on the ground. Again, we're really looking for sugar. Ammo could spawn down in here. BT, if that was BS, we'd pick it up. We'll hit this crate. Croutons go for about 13k, the Amelia ones. Crackers, not worth picking up. Tushanka, again, 11k. Juice. And I'll drink a lot of this while I'm going because I'm running low on food and water as I go through this. MREs, 16k. 16 to 20, and sometimes they're sought after. I'll pick them up and ditch them for other stuff. Because again, per slot. Moonshine can spawn here as well as other food items. Condensed milk, we're going to pick it up. Head on down here. From here, if the run's going a little bit slim pickings, I will cut over here to the bunker. The bunker has some good options. Alright potential, but I usually don't come over here. No scavs spawn over here to my knowledge. So it's a relatively safe area. Green box there. Find some various spawns here on the bed. Grenade box. Down below there's a couple food spawns. And that's 10k. 10k. That's on the Zarya. We'll head down here real quick just to duffel bag here. water ration, toolbox, tech spawns down in here. In the lockers, you can get some utility spawns. Food can spawn on the table, jacket there, duffel bag. That will roll out. All right. Now, another high-ticket item, there's the area that we just were. We're going to cut back towards this road here. We want to follow this road. If we go too far right, we'll get into landmines. It can be sometimes difficult to avoid if we go too far right. What I'm going to do right here is I'm going to hug this water here. Right up here is the USEC camp. Some solid loot in this direction as well. We're going to head right on up here. A little background about me, if this is maybe one of your first videos ever seeing me. I don't do a lot of YouTube content, so maybe this is one of your first videos. Hi, my name's Dennis. You can call me Scav. We play Tarkov on a daily basis. We stream on Twitch every day, usually 10 a.m. EST. I live down in Florida. I like cars, guns, skateboarding, you know, a lot of different stuff, video games. So great to have you here. Appreciate you taking the time to watch my video. Various med spawns here on the ground. Turn on this flashlight. We do have an IFAK here. Various meds on the top here and on the ground again. From here, go over here. You can get some scopes, suppressors, different attachments. With this gun box. Again, this raid hasn't been phenomenal. It's been decent. These go for about 18 to 20k, or you can use them. Some various spawns up here. This crate. Not a run to write home about, but still some solid money. We're walking down here with at least 300 to 400k, if not maybe a touch more. I usually will pick up these lunch boxes and ditch them later if I find something better. From here, we're going to cut right. I don't think we already hit this one. No, we did not. Technical supply crate right here. Brew nuts worth picking up. Duct tape worth 6k, not worth it. Matches. Occasionally worth it, but not really. Beginning of the wipe duct tape is worth picking up as well as hoses, but at the moment not worth picking up. We have some various gun attachments, RK4, you know, flashlights, lasers, sights. Alright, from here, if you go too far right, you'll get into landmines. I like to just hug this hill. Over here, I like to hug this hill, and I just like to go right up here on this rock. Alright, there is an armor spawn right here that we're going to start with. There it is, we got that. Those go for 120k. We're going to, well, since I have a spot, we'll just whip it right now. But armor spawn there. USEC armor is a good spawn. And 120k. Probably insurance fraud your current armor and swapping out for this. Suppressor, that's good. Now we're getting to the point where my inventory's full, so we'll start swapping stuff out for things that are better. These will go for a good 25 to 30k. We'll swap this out for some meds. Alright, from here. E-card that spawns in here. Gonna hit this. Sorry, not a key card, a M4, a weapon spawn. Pistol, that one's gonna sell for more, so we'll equip that. Alright, from here. 2 weapon cases, various gun attachments. We'll hit this gun box. Not a great find. Ammo. Stuff can spawn here in the beds. Another weapon case. And there's another armor spawn just past this that I'm going to show you. Armor can also spawn right here. Ground. Now, there's this rock that overlooks all of it. Again, this is where we just came from. This rock that where it overlooks, there is a way to climb up here, up the very front here, and it is worth climbing up. I find that almost nobody goes up this, so this is the direction we're about to be heading in. But if you come here to the front face, jump up here on the rocks. So you can find a full kit SOP mod M4 right here. Goes for, you know, over 120k, 180k. You can find BS in these boxes. Alright. Continuing where we just left off. What I like to do from here is I like to start heading toward exfil. I do not have the Outskirts exfil because I had to run all the way to that spawn that I showed you. So it's not actually gonna let me exfil from this run. There's not much to show you right here, and it's also getting dark, so I'm gonna pretty much conclude the run here. I'm gonna go over the 2 paths that I would take from this location here on the map, because there's not a whole lot after this. So just to show you, we'll go over here to the map, and so at this point, I just left this camp. To reiterate, I spawned right here, hit this camp, moved this way, hit the old sawmill, skirted around this, hit this stash, moved this way, scav bunker after hitting the miscellaneous spawn here, scav bunker, the U-set camp. Now I'm right here at this spawn point, and from here I like to go 2 different routes. If I'm juiced, I have all the loot that you see on me, I have a good amount of loot, I will just cut towards the outskirts, towards the outside of the map, and I will just hug this way, not looking for any PvP, not looking for any action, and I'll just go right here to the outskirts, just hugging this barrier, which there's obvious signs that you're about to walk into a minefield. I just like to hug that and go to the to the exfil at outskirts. Now, if I'm kind of all right on loot, if I could use a little bit more, I will cut in and I'll go to this rock here. I'll go to the sniper rock. There's 2 of them. And from here, I'll actually cross the road. And I like going over here to attachment cabin because often, not a lot of newer players, I think it must be newer players. Every time I hit this, 80% of the time it's untouched late in the raid. And I find attachments, sometimes I find over 100k, sometimes even 200k in this attachment hut, just off of, you can find NVGs, the valuable kind. You can find sugar on the table outside. You can find suppressors, lasers, scopes, expensive scopes. So this is worth hitting if you think it's relatively safe. If you don't have a lot of great loot, I would recommend going there, and then from there to the outskirts. From here, I do like to, on this route, I like to engage scavs. Usually I'm using a suppressed weapon. I'm looking to maybe get a little experience here or there. I'll often look for scavs and I'll just head tap them from a distance. On this route, I'm going to go over real quick where scavs do spawn in this route, and then we'll draw this video to a close. So scavs can spawn in this military camp. Usually they spawn there later rather than sooner. Again, when you first hit this, if you're very close and spawn, your big worry is PMCs. It is worth it though. It's worth the fight. There's great loot in here. Again, 1 sugar is 80k as it sits, and I often find 2 in here. There's plenty of stuff to get in here. Easy 300k if you can full load this usually between everything. From there, I like to move again towards the old station. UN roadblock. Like head in this direction. You will run into scavs in this area. If you spawn here, they usually aren't spawned by the time you move through, but there are a couple scavs to watch out for. Old sawmill, no scavs in here, relatively safe. From here, the route's relatively safe. I like to just go kind of around the scav town. Scavs do spawn here in the middle. They can aggro you as you're up on these rocks, but if you give it a wide berth, if you see them down there, you can avoid scavs if that's your goal. Head up here, hit this cache. Again, kind of move this direction. Scavs spawn in this area that we avoided. If you want to engage them, go for it. If you want to avoid them, cut this way. Up here, again, where these loose provisions are, there are often some scavs up here. It's not it's not a spot where a lot of people go to, so it's often safe to kill these and move on. It looks like there is a scav spawn here. I don't often run into scavs here. I think the scav spawns here and he runs this direction. You set camp, 0 scav spawns. Between these, 0 scav spawns. And from here, if you take the safe way out, you can avoid all scavs. You can shoot these scavs here at Scav House if you want, but you can just avoid them. If you want to go for more loot, you can also avoid them. Cross the road here, attachment cabin. Scavs can be in these woods, and then go to outskirts. So that is the route that I like to take. To reiterate some of the pointers, some of the validity of the route that I've come up with. I've been running this for the last couple months. I've been really enjoying woods recently. And again, in 7 raids, 4 hours times 7 raids, 1 death 6 times that I lived, and 5 to 8 player kills in that time. We amassed 5.8 million rubles worth of loot. That's selling what I can sell on the flea market, selling what's better to sell to therapist and mechanic to them. So great profit. Really solid run, and I only am turning this into a YouTube video because a lot of people enjoyed me taking them through this live on stream. So I hope this has been useful to you. I hope you get some use out of it. Maybe you can just kind of weave in a couple of these loot runs, these loot spots into your normal route around woods. If you've never given woods a chance, I always recommend learn it offline, scav runs, and then do online. If you can't exfil from an offline raid, usually I don't recommend running it online. You want to be comfortable offline. Never be afraid to learn something offline. But Woods, great map, great loot. And again, I think it's a great map to practice the strategy of choosing when you want to fight, when you have the advantage over the fight, and when you're not at advantage, so to avoid it. I think this is a great map to practice that and then take that skill to different maps, because it's a great skill to have on any map. So again, just to cap off the stream, I hope you to cap off the video, I hope you guys got something of use from this. I know that a lot of people who watched it live did, and I hope it was, helpful towards you. I hope this encourages you to give Woods a try. I've really enjoyed Woods. Before this wipe, I didn't recommend Woods to very many people. I rarely played it, and that's coming from someone who likes long distance encounters. So that's the map. Just to touch more about my stream, again, I stream Tarkov on the daily, 7 days a week, 10 a.m. EST usually. I have a Discord. I'll throw the link up down there in the YouTube video description down below. Right now, I'd love for you guys to do me a favor. If you enjoyed this video, again, I rarely put out YouTube content. I'm not trying to make a name for myself here on the platform. I more so use this platform to build up my stream. But I think this is a great resource to have on the YouTube, available to anyone looking it up. So if you do me a solid, if you enjoyed it, if you learned something, do me a favor, drop a, click a like, subscribe if you want. I really don't care about that. It's just great to have you here as a part of the community. If you really enjoyed what you saw here and you've never been to my stream, I'm going to drop a link to my Twitch. I'd love to have you swing by the stream sometime. That's really where we're building a great community of Tarkov players. But it is more about, it's about more than just Tarkov. We talk about cars, we talk about IRL stuff, motivational stuff. We build each other up, and we've really built an awesome community, if I do say so myself, and I'd love to have you be a part of it. We've got some big, ambitious plans for the next year, and we've been doing this for over 3 years now, streaming Tarkov as my game, and playing Tarkov over 3 years. So I've got a lot of knowledge about the game, and I hope to share some of it with you if you can use it at all. And again, I just want to say a huge thank you. I never post on YouTube, so thanks for taking the time watching this. I hope it's useful to some of you guys. As long as someone gets something out of it, it was worth taking this time to make the video. So with that in mind, I just want to say again, thanks. I look forward to seeing you in the stream sometime. Keep up the good work. Stay safe out there. All right.